There we go.
I'm always tickled when I see that my phone is like, you've let another device have control over me. How could you? Goodness. So we are waiting for the lady of the hour to join
Of
us,
course.
which is Jill Flowers. Uh, and here she is.
Miss Jill.
April, welcome. So glad that you were able to join us tonight.
Thank you. I was just scrolling Instagram and randomly saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll join now.
Very good. Victoria is going to be disappointed. I told her I would try to go live on IG, but I don't think that that's going to be possible this evening, but that's okay.
Yeah, this is good. Zoom and YouTube. Well, I'm excited for the topic and the conversation. So,
Absolutely. Hello, Yvette. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hello, Anita. I'm happy to be here. I won't be saying I have bronchitis, so I probably won't be saying much.
No problem. No problem at all. We're just happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I am here. I'm just trying to get the link to move out off of my phone. So I just need 1 second.
You're just fine, friend. You're just fine.
Do you want to know where we're calling in from, Lanita?
I would love to know where you're calling in from this evening. If y'all want to drop it in the chat, or if you're brave like Star Babatoon and you want to come on the screen and let us know, that'll be cool too.
Oh, come on back. I was looking for the chat. Okay. Well, I am in Fairfax, Virginia. I'm coming to you from my bedroom. How about that? In my meditation chair. So I'm excited.
You are in the perfect place for this conversation for sure.
Lanita, would you please put the link or send me the link, email me the link, because I
You
cannot
want
find it.
email or text? You said, Jill,
You can email it to me.
email will do. And we have April coming in from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Right. Mm. Yvette from Pittsburgh, but born and raised in the DMV. Okay. Okay. Nice. I was actually born and raised in New York. I spent about 20 years in Los Angeles, and I've been here for about 20 years. So, and we got April over here in Atlanta. My stepmom is in Atlanta. Oh, yeah, she's coming here tomorrow. Spend some time in Atlanta. So, what does everyone do for fun? Let's do that. What do you do for fun? Oh, so Yvette, you also lived in Atlanta. How funny. How funny. What do we do for fun? Oh, and April used to live in LA. Fabulous. We're all connected. We're all connected here. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll just
Hey,
hop on cam. Hi, everybody.
April. So instead of asking what everyone does, I was going to ask what everyone does for fun, for relaxation, or is that why we're here? Maybe that's why we're here, to figure that out.
I do a lot of stuff. I feel like every couple weeks it's something new. I love to hula hoop, and I'm a poor roller skater, but I like to skate. I love music and teaching myself how to DJ, and I love going to concerts, which is relaxing. So, yeah.
Oh my God, April, that's a lot of good stuff.
No, take me with you. But April hasn't told you something really cool she does. April, you gonna tell them how we met?
Yeah, so I also do sound baths. I started
Oh.
a little while ago. I actually have another one on Sunday that I'm prepping for, but it's another. But that's like my relaxation gift to others. I do go to sound baths too, but yeah.
What is a sound bath? Someone educate me.
So it's a meditative experience where you either sit or relax, and someone plays a variety of instruments to help reset the nervous system, help you relax. It's
So is there water involved?
Nope, no water, just a variety.
All right.
Everybody always asks that.
Yes, I was confused.
You're just bathed by the sounds.
Got it.
And we have these wonderful ladies, Jill Flowers.
So there's a big, there's an echo. You got a big echo?
Oh. I know.
I didn't hear an echo. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Grace and peace. Eve, so good to see you. Good to see you, Star. Hello, April. Victoria. I have heard of Sanji. I have never met Sanji. Sanji, you're gonna have to turn your camera on.
Sanji is fabulous.
I cannot turn my camera on due to my location, but I can hear. I can hear everything. Okay.
I want to know about the location now. What's going on in the location?
Okay.
Well, nice to know that you're here and you're here with your presence and
Thank
your
you.
energy. So thank you for being here. Lenita, are you coming in and
Yes, I was trying to hear it. But I don't think it.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, right.
You do? You hear an echo?
Okay, is this better?
No, it started when Jill came on.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I hear echo as well.
I was on my phone and I turned my phone off.
Are you sure? Somebody has it open on multiple things. Somebody somewhere.
I'm gonna go on mute. Lenita, say something.
Can you hear me? And do I have the echo?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. That's so weird.
Come back, Jill. Come back, Jill. Let's see if it's took care of itself.
Hello. Hello. Okay, Lanita.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I hear it echo from. Yeah, I hear it echoes now.
And now start.
So we're just gonna have to we'll just mute as we move forward. Yeah, like if we're not speaking, we'll it kind of it might impair the flow a little bit, but maybe it'll work itself out. So thank you everyone for going through tech with us.
Okay. So welcome to the Boundaries to Brilliance, transformation journey. This is a coaching program open to all women who are committed to a journey of transformation, inspiration, motivation that is supported by lovely, kind, highly successful, and high achieving women. Tonight is a special night. We don't normally meet on Fridays. We normally meet on the first and third Mondays of the month at 7 p.m. for about an hour. But there has been a lot of discourse about one of the areas of our lives that's really important, which is love and relationship. And it started a conversation last week that kind of rolled into this week. And it started from the whole Rihanna, ASAP Rocky, then folded into Klay Thompson and Meg Thee Stallion. And then it became okay, so what does this mean for us as women, period, with the dialogue, male and female, positive and negative? And how can we come through this in a way that is supported and loving? And so, of course, because Jill Flowers is who she is, she said, I'm going to do something about this. I am going to do a teaching. And I was like, great, let's do something together. You grab your ladies, I'll grab my ladies, and most of our ladies overlap, which is really cool. And let's have this conversation. The same time, Jill has this wonderful program that she is launching, a sister circle, a sistership called Hell. And so tonight, we are going to be held in the bounds of Jill Flowers, our master hypno-soul therapist, ordained minister, founder and creator of the Mechaverse. If y'all have not flowed through there, you've got to go look. It is an outstanding offering of love and support. Sound healer, Reiki master, beautiful woman, Jill Flowers. I'm going to turn it over to her now and zip it and go on mute.
Thank you, Lanita Mitchell-Blackwell, which we tend to call each other our full names. Thank you, and thank you for loving me, uh, and just pouring into me, and us pouring into each other. And thank you all for being here. Thank you. I'm not gonna say I have a desire to want to say all of your names, but I did partially do that. But welcome to Friday night. Welcome to this space of being held. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that is. But the feeling of being held is what I want you to just sit with. The feeling of being held is the feeling of being supported. It is the feeling of being comforted and nurtured by the spaces, the places, and the faces that you connect with. So that's my definition. So before we dive directly into this topic tonight, and I love that we're all here. I think I know a little bit about everyone here. April and I have not, our energy has not connected, but I love what the fabric of what I'm seeing that we can weave tonight. And so I thought that this was a really important conversation because Lanita and I were going back and forth around it, and it wasn't about gossip. It wasn't about celebrities. I've worked in film and TV for a really long time, so um, I'm trained to kind of navigate outside of those types of conversations because I don't know if next week I'm working with whoever. And so this is not about some of the things you may have seen when it comes to the podcast. This is I really believe a real conversation about shadow work, about what's being mirrored either back to us or a part of us, like our own wounds, what we're seeing, the fear. And so for me, I am connecting where Black women have not been held, are not held, are not supported, are not nurtured. When a woman says, these are my boundaries, and I am not going to go past these boundaries. So I want to just put it into the circle here. What is held? What is nurturing? What is support for you? And I'm also going to throw in here, do you feel supported in your life? And anyone can, if you feel called to speak on how we're moving, you don't have, you can come forward or you can sit back.
Well, Jill, I'll start. And I feel supported because I have such wonderful sistership, kinship with many of the women who are on tonight. Good family, but also because I have really made it a priority to establish boundaries in my life. And once it became clear that I would need to do that, some people just started falling away. And I think part of the thing that makes it hard to feel supported is because when we're coming through just trying to make friends and to be accepted as young ladies and then women, right? We have in our minds that we have to allow people to do and say things that are not necessarily comfortable to us so that we can be included and accepted. And it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel warm. It doesn't feel supported. It doesn't feel loving, not at all. But there's just something special that happens once you say, you know what, enough's enough. I have gone through illness. I have gone through heartbreak. I have gone through all the things. And I'm going to be all right. My own company is okay. And then all of a sudden, your tribe, your people start showing up. And you build a supportive network of people. Like I met you and Star within, the last 10 years. And I consider y'all two of my dearest friends. But that happened after those boundaries started coming up, So that's my 2 cents.
Anyone else? Thank you,
I'm
Lisa.
sorry.
Lisa.
Hi. Am I echoing to anybody else or just me? Okay. So I was gonna share that I just read about choosing guilt over resentment, right? And the idea of being okay with the idea behind it was that women are just givers, right? We give, we parent, we give, we mother, we do all the things, even if we're not in active intention. And so the idea was also to like, okay, the softness of surrendering in some way, but that surrender always includes guilt for us. And the guilt of saying no, the guilt of saying I need my own time, the guilt of pulling back. And I was like, whoa, right? And then they started talking about the conversation of recovery, like people in addiction in that same way. And it just opened up a lot of different conversation for me. So I'm just in a space of like trying to recenter again, right? Um, Trying to understand that my harshness is not an issue, like reiterating that to myself. um I still have some girlfriends in my circle that are like, oh, in your relationship maybe you shouldn't have said that, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have told you that, right? Maybe I need to pull back again on the energy that I share and that I'm giving to you, because this is not for you to validate. This was for me to share. And this is no longer a safe space now for me to share, because you've shown me that very quickly. Um, I'm not having this issue with my male partner who I'm trying to potentially marry and cohabitate. Well, we do cohabitate together. He's currently on a trip. And I'm having a quick moment to like check in, but then also be checked in and stay checked in. With him here now that we live together, I haven't done that with any man for 15 years, even a long term sense. So anyway, I just want to come back to checking in with me first. Even though I give him and I love to give him, I love him and I love his existence. Even when we're fighting, I want to come back to him and we repair with one another. But we definitely have hit a point of like, go to Philly, have a good time. I'm gonna be in my circle tonight and this weekend and for the next couple weekends until I get the support I need in the transition that I'm in right now. I thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So, what brought this about, as was stated earlier, um, there was a very public relationship between Meg the Stallion and NBA professional athlete Klay Thompson, and they broke up. When they broke up, it was just, well, she broke it off with him. And she said, allegedly he was cheating. And everybody just seemed to go everybody crashed out. I think I may have been introduced to this because Sherry Shepherd was like, if you cheat on Meg the Stallion, then there's no hope for any of us. And it's that stayed with me because I'm not sure how much I know about Meg the Stallion to agree, right? That she's above in Sherry Shepherd and many other women, she's above reproach. But then the men came in. And when the men came in, a lot of the just the things that I was seeing, the men came in and they came in with violence. They came in, not all of them, not all of them, not all of them. But it prompted the elder men to jump into the conversation, right? The mature men, and I'm not talking age, I'm just talking, the wise men jumped into the conversation. And then I also watched some of the elder women jump into the conversation. The men, some of the things that the men were saying was just calling out who Meg the Stallion is, right? Or what she has shown herself to be. And being her brand is a hypersexual woman who is confident and understands her sexuality and expresses it. So it was kind of almost like some people were saying it was a gender war, some people would it was just conversation back and forth. The men, the elder men, the wisdom that I received was the men really talking about why men cheat and not being accountable, not being responsible, and one, why they cheat. The other conversation was that maybe from Meg's point of view, they were in a relationship, but just because Klay Thompson was quiet and quote unquote more on the nerdy side, she probably thought that he would not cheat. So my question I want to put out here, I want to know your just how did this land for you? Because you are here because you've seen this out in the out in social media. And one of the things that I really got from it was, when we say no, when we set our boundaries, when we say we're not going to do something, it seems like we're met with aggression, betrayal, punishment. And we're asked to, lower our tone, lower our voices, step back, be small. Anybody can jump in at any given time, you know. Um,
I'm here. Am I echoing?
Nope. I'm gonna go on mute. Go ahead. Thank you.
Um, I think that, in my opinion, I've been married almost 38 years, and I will always say that, in part to the other question or the statement, I'm very supported, very loved, very well taken care of. Lanita knows that all too well because she's, inside my bubble. But with all those things in place, it does not take care of the trauma that happened before you got into that safe space. And the trauma is just what it is. And I think with Megan Thee Stallion, she believed he was different. Yes, he was an athlete, but he was not Tory Lanez, the one who shot her. So and what people forget, like with Tory Lanez had a whole wife. He had a whole wife that no one even knew he had until he got ready to go to jail. So she was in this orbit of these type of people doing all these horrible things. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we're not there. We don't know. We just know that we are women and how we open up to the men that we trust. And then she's, all of her stuff is out there. So she just believed because he moved different, he acted different, he was going to be different. And he, and then I agree with you. They made it all about her image, which I think that is all it is. And I mean, and she's under these contracts and she makes her money by moving the way that she does. And people forget that, she's college educated. She has done tremendous community work. She opened everything she said that she was going to do with her shaking her moneymaker. She built the nursing home. She did all these things. They don't want to touch that. They don't want to touch that. They don't want to bring that up. They just want to talk about, no one wants to address all that. And Klay Thompson, he has dated some phenomenal women. So the issue is him. And I think she thought she was being careful and he was going to be different and he was going to treat her better. That's why in her statement, she was like, you took me around your family. You did all these things. He did all those things that were different that she didn't get in the other place. So that was her safe space. That's all I have.
Thank you, Sanji.
Can you guys hear me? Is my embroidery machine too loud? Okay, awesome. Okay, so before I answer, I have my question was because I don't know everything about it. And you said something, Jill, where you said you feel like when we say no, we get a lot of pushback. Did Meg say no in some kind of way, or are you just saying her breaking up with him was her no?
She, I don't have the text message up, and I did a poor job of like bringing up all of the things that I looked at because one, I really was not trying to make it so it is so much about them, but more about how this landed on us in our real lives. And so she said something, and maybe Sandra, you can help me out with this, but she did say something about like this is where she draws the line, right? She talked about her his he apparently it sounds like he has some type of rage, anger issues, and she said something like your emotional issues, and then him cheating, kind of like she dealt with all these different things about him, and then the fact that he cheated, and she was like, this is where I draw the line.
That's
And
it. That's it right there.
yeah, so that's a boundary, right? Like this is like she basically was like, I will ride with you. You need whatever you need. I'm making that turkey. Okay, you raged out. I'm gonna be there for you around that. I'm gonna support you. But this is where I draw the line, right? I refuse to continue to be with you if you're going to be with other women, and that's that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with that context, oh, I'm echoing. Okay. With that context, I just feel like someone just said unhealed traumas, right? And I feel like just even in my dating experience, um, you're taught what love is, and then it might be chaotic, it might be extremely negative, it might be extremely unhealthy. And until you do like the inner work, you're going to keep seeking that out. It'll have different faces, it'll look different, it'll meet you in different places, but you're going to keep needing the version of the love that you were taught. And so I just feel like when it comes to just love in general, even if we don't like hyper focus on Meg and like all that, I just think that people need to take more responsibility of doing like inner healing work to be able to point out red flags because in my opinion, with the details that you just shared, with everything else he was going through, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then to say, oh, now cheating, I'm going to be done. No, like if you're angry for no reason, scaring me, doing these things, I'm loving on you, being a woman, doing, and I've done what that's a no, I'm not going there, kind of a thing. And so I think that as Black women, our responsibility is to learn boundaries and to live in them and to feel okay with whatever comes. Like I love what Lanita said earlier, where she said she developed great friendships after she made boundaries, and I can even say for me, like I'm in a wilderness season because of my boundaries. Like I just refuse. I genuinely believe that anybody I met prior to going to therapy was not good for me because what I was taught love was extremely unhealthy. And all the people that I've known prior to therapy, they fall into alignment with that. Like, so I just think that it's like we need to look out for red flags a little bit better, but then also own our own red flags and find the healing, do the things that make us to be a better person in general. But I also, and this is just my theory when it comes to men cheating, I think men, especially men in the Black community, because I'm in the Black community, I can't speak for other ones. They oftentimes are looking for a lot of validation, whether they know it or not. And I think a lot of them have issues with their moms that they're not fully aware of, even if they were raised by just their mom. And then I think they take that out on us and they're not aware. They don't get pressed to have feelings and go through the emotions and like tap in with themselves. And so it's not obvious all the time. But I think, and I can expand, but I'll stop there. But that's my thought so far on all.
Thank you. Do you want to be called Ruth?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Both of our names, Victoria and Ruth.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's huge. What you brought in, um, the men and their moms. Really, really huge. As a boy mom, I know we have at least three of us in here are mothers of boys, of men, young men, and that is actually something that I was sitting with in terms of like what do I tell my son, um in terms of his feelings and his being able to express. So thank you for bringing that in. um that's another Friday night discussion. Does anyone else, the mic is open, the floor is open.
So I know nothing about any of this because I don't pay attention to things like that. But I get the point of why you want to chat about that, Jill. But the first question that I heard was, are you supported? Do you feel supported? And I have lately been going through a season, a character building season, let's say, where just if one more thing goes wrong. No, I have a son with a disability. He is terminal. Um, and watching him deteriorate is breaking my heart. And other things are going on. It's just been a season. And in that season, I am absolutely, positively aware that I am supported. because the people keep checking in on me. They're calling me, they're checking in on me. My stepmother, as I was having a moment, she said 3 words to me that sort of shifted all of my energy. Would you like to know what those 3 words were? I'm going to tell you, you might want to write this down. It's very important. She said, ask for help. That that was it. Ask for help. It was brilliant because apparently I didn't think about it. Ask for help. And I was in Los Angeles. My son was having a crisis here in Virginia. And I'm like, I gotta get on a plane. I gotta go home. My stepmom said, she said, did you ask for help? La 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 la. And then she said, just ask. Whatever. Like moms know things. Um, and I called up my girlfriend and I needed her to stay in my house with my son for 24 hours. She said, can I bring my dog? That was it. She was like, yeah, what you need? What you need? Um, and I didn't actually use her because one of his aides um, said that she would stay at the house for 36 hours because she had already done her shift, but she was willing to stay until I got home because I asked for help. And I just felt like that was amazing. It was amazing that my friend was willing to do that. I had to call my neighbor because my son was home alone, freaking out. He's 30 years old, by the way, but he couldn't breathe and I don't know what was happening. It was the middle of the night and I call my neighbor. I mean, we're like, hey, how you doing, neighbor? That's the kind of neighbors we are. We're not like come over to my house and have dinner neighbors. She came to my house. It was the first time she had ever been in my house to help my son. 2 nights in a row. I feel supported. Even though I, you know, may have not known how supported I was, but and those big things, but it's the people who just check on me, who just send me a little text message. How you doing? What's up? What can I do for you? It makes me feel supported when I'm sometimes feeling alone and overwhelmed and overburdened. There's the answer to that question. As far as all of that, what Victoria Ruth said was very good. I liked what Yvette said. Also, no, it was Alyssa. Um, we all have our limits. And I hear Victoria saying, my limit is way before that, way before that. But you're absolutely right. We learn to live with what we've seen. And if that's what we've seen, then that's what we do. Um, I forget sometimes that people are still in the middle of all of that. Meaning, I'm 64, I'm divorced, I'm not thinking about any of that. But there was a time where, you know, twisting myself and shifting myself and adjusting myself to make someone else happy was like part of the regular, you know. Um, and I don't know what's happening with those people, but I get what you're saying, Jill, is that you look at her image, Megan or Meg, look at her image and think that she must think and feel a certain way. But really, she's just a woman. She's just a human being. She is just someone wanting love, and if that's her boundary, I think she gets to say her boundary regardless of how she dresses. The end.
Thank you, Star Babatune. Thank you. Um, you know, I am right behind you, Star, by a few years, right? And yeah, I feel like this is not a conversation, like, but what I saw, what I heard was the shadow work not being done. Similar to what Victoria Ruth was saying, us coming wounded to the relationships, us not taking accountability, us not taking not doing the work, and also not holding those that we are in relationship with accountable, not paying attention to the red flags. And the red flags were probably there. And so it was what was mirroring back to me as there's a lot of shadow work that's very present here. And what's so funny is I don't think either of them, I've not heard of either of them having made any other statement. So it felt very much like this, almost like this gift for us to take a look at ourselves, to take a look at, one, where we're supported, where we're not being supported, but what are we still holding as Black women from our parents, from what they didn't do or did do, and the wounds that they didn't take care of. The question that this leads me to is this historical expectation that Black women must absorb discomfort to keep others comfortable. When we see red flags, we feel them, and we get that little, for some people it might be a little, something happens in the belly, something happens, it might be the heart. And we just push it down because we don't want to rock boats. And we are known for rocking some boats. That's what everybody says. But there are some boats we just don't want to rock.
I think part of the reason that we don't want to rock the boat is because most of us were raised by the same very well-meaning people who loved us and wanted us to succeed. And we were told that if we worked hard, we would be successful, we would live happily ever after. And if that everybody else received what they needed, then we would get what we needed, and we would be praised and lauded, and that would be enough. That would be more than enough. And, that works until it doesn't. I suspect that most of the ladies on this line did very well in school, went on to go to college, establish businesses, maybe do both, and so probably internalize success equaling happiness. And one of the ways to be successful is for people to like you, because when people like you, they will move mountains for you. There'll be opportunities that come to you that nobody else knows about. They'll let a lot of things slide because they like you. We already have to work hard, so I won't say you have to work less. That's just not the case. At least I'll say that's not been my experience. And for those of you that I know intimately on this call, I know you've worked damn hard to get where you are. But I'll say that your work is recognized in a different way. And the thought of people not being happy with us, not being comfortable in our presence, that strikes real concern, real fear in us, because we know that there is a direct monetary implication to that when it comes to us getting referrals, getting repeat business. Sometimes even in our relationships, the hassles that can come when people aren't satisfied with us. And I'm not just talking about our relationships with a significant other. I'm talking about even within our family structures. parents, siblings. And so you're talking about a revolution, basically, Jill Flowers. You are talking about open revolt. That we're saying we are not going to have at the front of our minds somebody else's comfort and well being. I mean, I'm down for the cause. I'm ready to ride too. But I think we got to call that what it is. That is open revolt and rebellion from what we have been taught.
I like what Alyssa said earlier. She said that we as women, we choose guilt over resentment. No, we choose resentment over guilt. We choose resentment. I don't want to feel guilty by saying no, so I will do the thing I don't want to do, and then I will resent you for it. Yes?
Can I just tag on to that and say I don't particularly like Meg the Stallion's vibe. I don't particularly like what she's got going on. I don't like what that other guy she's got going on either, right? The Clay Thompson, the two of them together. So when my boyfriend, who's 3 years younger than me, told me that, oh, they got something going, I was like, ew, that makes sense, right? And not that I'm the celebrity people whisperer, and I don't know these people like we just said, but I think my stance right now in my personal life, why I don't like to participate in knowing about these celebrities and these posts is because this male versus female rivalry that these things are creating, Jill, when I first saw you post this, it reminded me just of that conversation. If you ever go to the comments of some of these posts, it is just a war. 13,000 comments of women and men and men and women and men and men and women and women yelling and screaming at each other all day. And so that to me, when you posted that, to me, it's really the Clay Thompson thing. Because even when my partner said it to me, I excuse my language, ladies, but I was like, quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. I have a leak in my bedroom right now. I got stuff going on in my bathroom that they haven't come to fix yet. I don't care about this idiotic couple that we don't know about. Yes, they are human beings, but at the same time, they got stuff going on that we don't know about because they are not in my tax bracket. And it's okay that that's the situation, but they are also their own selves and we don't know them. So for it to throw fuel into the fire of the male versus female conversation that's been going on social media for I'd say probably a decade now, um it's just silly. And I we can chuckle about it. I listen, I'm talking all of this talk. I watch Love and Hip Hop, right? I'm gonna be a hypocrite as well, but I'm saying in our personal lives, I love this conversation because how much do we let it affect us, right? And how much do we say that we absolutely know what's going on, or do we use it for positive reinforcement, right? Do we use it as a positive talk? Um, I just I'm also over
Elisa. Okay.
It looks like she
She
froze.
froze. Okay.
Yeah, really
I
good
want to.
comment.
Yeah, I want to read this comment. Thank you, Elisa. I don't know if you can hear us. Okay, and Jalen, I'm gonna come right to you right after. Let me be the voice for, well, I call her Eve. The Yvette. In the spirit of shadow work, my therapist gave me 2 journal prompts, which I've yet to do. Smiley face. Do you tell yourself lies to avoid confronting your fears? Evae is what we call Yvette. Evae. Um, so I just want to let that settle for a second. Do you tell yourself lies to avoid confronting your fears? Sometimes. And then the second journal prompt is, do you take constructive criticism well? Sometimes. If anyone right, it depends. It depends who's giving the criticism. um if anyone wants to speak on the 2 journal prompts. So, and I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, Jalen. Oh, Victoria, you wanna let me mute and
Yeah,
then
but he probably wanted to talk about something previously. Do you want me to go?
Well, I was evening, ladies. I stepped into Black women's space, and I was like, "Oh, I was here to." Hey, Miss Lanier, how you doing? And I wanted to support my friend Ruth as well. Both of you, lovely ladies, and I stepped into the space. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
you are
Black woman.
welcome. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually asked my husband. I was like, "Do you want to? It would be great to have your voice." And I'm only laughing at I can't repeat what his response was. But he's not here, but he was invited to be here. So I love when the men come and see us and then stay anyway. So with the mic is yours, and I'm saying your name correctly, Jalen.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Welcome, Jalen.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Jill. Yes, to Victoria's point, I was going to address the previous point, but I can also answer the 2 journal prompts. It does depend, but I don't tell myself lies, though. I don't tell myself lies. I say, give it a beat, give it a moment, and I journal myself. So for me, I will probably go to my journal to express what it is that I'm navigating to find the best answer, or to just unpack what it is that I'm fearful of and why. And another question is about fears. Fears in regards to what? Is it in regard to whom you engage with? Is it in regards to fears within your own mind, spiritual fears? What is the fear? What are the fears grounded in? Because that plays a role too, right? If you are fearful of confrontation because of something that you feel like you need to address in this moment with said person or said circumstance, I think we all would feel that telling ourselves lies will only will only continue the issues to continue to grow over time. If you don't address it, it will force your hand one way or another. You're going to have to reckon with it one way or another if you tell yourself lies and you defer for too long. So for what I would do is I would journal it. I would journal the apprehensive moment that has me taken aback, and then I pray, and then usually God throws it in my face anyway for me to address it. So that's how that goes. And the second one is, do I take constructive criticism well? It depends on time and place. And it's about, and I'm just being honest. I've received constructive. I would like constructive criticism because I'm only getting better. You need to get better. If you're not learning, you're dying, right? That old adage. But if you're trying to give me constructive criticism when I'm already in the midst of all these other things that I'm stressing about, and that you may know or be aware of that I'm stressing about, is that the right time to give me constructive criticism? There's a moment where I was reading this book, Nonviolent Communication by Rosenberg, where timing really is everything. It's best to give constructive criticism when you are in a lighter, more open and expressive mood than it is when you are dealing with, like, as Sister Lisa was saying, you got a leak in the house, you got this bill to pay, you don't know, you just got this phone call. Like, receiving constructive criticism, even if that moment warrants you to receive it because that brought on a time to give it, sometimes you have to read the room. But I also understand how important it is for people to feel acknowledged when it's time to give the constructive criticism. So I think it's important to try to preface it by at least saying, hey, I would like for us to circle back on this. Or when do you feel like it's another time for us to do that? I think a lot of us are afraid to say that because we feel that we are silencing ourselves. But I think in aspect, I think it's a sign of compassion and kindness and consideration for you both. Because if you're giving constructive criticism, you want to be received well by what message you're trying to convey, and you want to try to create understanding so both of you can navigate it together with the requisite energy, with the requisite opportunities to navigate it, so you both can achieve the understanding and the opportunities for solutions. But thank you for letting me share and welcome me to the space.
Well, whose friend are you again? That was dynamite. That was dynamite. But thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing and helping Eve with her uh homework, her journal prompt. Uh, you had something else though that because you can circle back to something that we said previously, and you're welcome to share about that if if you want to, if you still want to.
Is her name Elisa or Alyssa?
Elisa, hard E.
Elisa.
Elisa.
Okay. I second Elisa's point. When it comes to these celebrities, boy, I do not like how much we have these, how we have these internal conflicts and infighting, gender wars that are taking place. Because the media monetizes off the drama, hence Love and Hip Hop, hence Making the Band, hence The Real World. They monetize off of drama, particularly Black drama, Black trauma, Black dysfunction, Black ignorance. In the midst of the millions and billions we make, in the midst of all the influence and innovations we convey, it doesn't matter. Give me the trauma so I can make my dollars and I can showcase you all why we believe you all are ignorant and inferior and do not deserve the power and opportunity to control these spaces that we're already using your bodies for. We need you to make this world go round anyway. But we're going to show you why you don't deserve as much power as you say you do. So I feel like those moments is an opportunity where I can't tell any woman, no man, no child, what to do with their phone and what to do with their Twitter thumbs, they X thumbs. But boy, I just hoped and wished that whenever there are any public breakups, that no one excoriates or tries to expose someone else for whatever they're doing, because men do it to women all the time too. They don't do breakups, but they do little subtle, sly, hypersexual, demeaning things to women. You get what I'm saying? On the internet, online. So everybody, it's enough blame to go around. But what it shows is who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Because as we live in this capitalist society where everyone wants to be self-sufficient financially, everyone wants to have successful businesses, they want to be propped for their achievements and their accolades and their presumed character, because you're only presenting what you want the world to see online. What you all talked about earlier in regard to doing that internal work, that shadow work, that therapy work, you have examples right now that are trending right now based on what we're sharing in this conversation of people who haven't really done it. Because the very healthy couples that we laud and applaud don't do this. Like I follow, Sterling K. Brown and Ryan Michelle Bethay and their podcasts and how they talked about the work they actively do and the conversations they've had about their relationship throughout on a platform that they control that is healthy for them, that they both agreed upon that they're going to navigate together. When we have other healthy couples that we know who are doing these things, of course, those couples are not propped and they're not trending and they're not, you know what I'm saying? It's for a reason. It's for a reason. But let them be an example as well. They serve as an example for me of how I would like to move in private with my baby, with my children. And we're going to figure out this life stuff because we're imperfect. And we're going to figure out how to cultivate this land together in our times of separation, in our times of abundance, in our times of scarcity. We're going to figure this out together. But when you see the other couples that are not necessarily as healthy or as centered as they need to be, let that be an example for all the kids. Let that be an example for all of us to do the work. Because when God does bless you and you get those prayers granted and you do get those followers and you do get those dollars and you need to take advantage of these ads and marketing campaigns to be the face of whatever brand and business you have, you better be ready when that time comes. If it comes, hopefully it does not. If you happen to be embarrassed or shamed or made a fool of by your partner, by your family, by whomever, and knowing how to keep that in house and knowing how to heal as properly and as healthily as you can, but not to put yourself in any positions to compromise who you are in the future. And I'm just going to stop there. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you for pouring into the circle, and thank you for being here. Um, let's just take a collective breath. And I want to be the voice for Eve. She put in the chat, I did not know what Meg looked like until I Googled her just now. I quit social media 2 years ago. I don't know. I get it, maybe. And I wonder why we are so interested in the lives of others. Are we looking for validation or justification? What if when I go there, I return to me and put the focus on me, my family, my community? What if? And that's a great question. Like what if? Um, I'm gonna throw in any addiction, right? Any addiction that we could have. Um, I appreciate you, Eve. Any addiction, because these are train wrecks that we're watching, whether we call it my guilty pleasure, or it's just a normal regular part of your indulgence. um why do we is it the validation? And one of the questions that I had is how and why celebrity stories become mirrors for everyday women's lived experiences. Because some of the women that I was watching, as they post their reels and their shorts and their commentary, I was struck by how emotional and upset the women were, in speaking around this breakup. And one, we don't know if it's PR. We don't know if it's real. We don't know if what it was filmed and then put out on social media, and then they went back to their regular lives, and then every time they were together they had a camera up. Like, we don't know. But as the healing, a person who holds space for healing experiences, what I saw was the gift in it to have a conversation around support, around being held, around speaking up, boundaries. When we have boundaries, Victoria Ruth said, I'm in the wilderness, right? I'm in a wilderness era because of my boundaries. And what I have found, and I will tell you, I am still working on the courage to fortify boundaries, because sometimes we have boundaries and those boundaries are not fortified. We need to sometimes we gotta put some cylinder blocks around the blocks that are already there, and I am still working on that part, because I will collapse a boundary for my kids. I will collapse. I'll be like, okay, right? But they are the most manipulative people I know. I love them dearly, but they know me really well. And so being in the wilderness because of your boundaries, and being punished because you said, I'm not going to take this type of treatment. I had put in here the nervous system impact of watching people be publicly dissected. And what I'm referring to, I'm looking at Megan, like, she has this she has pretty privilege, body privilege, um and it made me think of the Venus Hottentot. I don't know if this is a syndrome, but I put syndrome behind it, and it made me think of like us as spectacles once again, and being dissected and being pulled apart. I listened to an elder, and she was speaking as if what we see as Meg the Stallion, which is a brand, it is a brand, but what who men marry, why they choose wives, how they choose wives, and what they do. Um, and so what I was seeing is the fear that women were expressing, because they felt like, if this can happen to that person, then there's no hope for me. So I'm throwing a lot out here, but the fear from watching, and I think this goes back to some things that Jalen, you were saying, right? The fear of, being cut off at a certain point, not being able to be in a relationship that you want, or the relationship of your dreams. These types of fears that, truth be told, we were told that these are the things that you must accomplish as a woman. Now, younger generations are coming out against, a lot of the things that we have given them, our mothers have given down the line. But what I was sensing and seeing was all of this fear, like here's another thing that's being dangled in our faces for us to be afraid of. I may not have the life or the big wedding or wear that dress. That may not happen for me. And we're looking at celebrities and making this judgment for ourselves. And I think that this is something to really talk about, because if my daughter, who, she's 14, but if she comes to me and tells me about somebody that I don't know, and we don't know that this is true, and how it is dictating what would go on in her life, that's a problem. So I'm gonna leave that there, and just, I know I keep kind of throwing a few different things out. April, you haven't said anything, so if you want to grab the mic, we would love to hear from you. Nasha, welcome, Nasha. would love to hear from you if you have anything you want to put into the circle.
Sure.
Sure, I'll
Here.
share.
So like many of you have already stated, I don't spend a lot of time on celebrity anything. But as somebody that's been single for a little while, it is sometimes fascinating to see the discourse. And as it was mentioned earlier, it's really frustrating that most of these discussions kind of devolve into men versus women. But the things from this that were interesting for me, I guess, um, were that on one hand, you have the people that were like you were just saying, Meg has everything. She's, rich and popular and famous and has sturdy knees and all the fun things. And she can't find love. And then on the other side, there are people stating because she dresses a certain way or she's outspoken or whatever, she doesn't deserve love. And I think one of the things that stood out is that none of that really matters. We spend so much time, like you said, we were taught you have to do XYZ ABC in order to find and hold on to love. And we have these two very diametrically opposed opinions on what that looks like. And for me, it was just a reminder to really lean on and cling to what I want for myself. How do I want to define myself, regardless of what other people think, and really holding to that as strongly as I can. And I know it's really hard because you have so many influences, whether that's media, your family, your friends. My mother has very strong opinions of why I'm single at my big age. And I don't want to do the things that she thinks I should do. I have another friend who's actually getting divorced who's still trying to tell me that the things that she did in her marriage are the things that I should be doing right now. And I get it. I'm supported and loved and cared for, not always in the ways that I would like in that regard, but things like this are just a big reminder to really just get back to what my goals are in all areas of my life and hold strong to that. The other thing that was very interesting from this dialogue, I saw a clip of someone stating, and not to, um, give Clay a pass on any of his behavior, but there was commentary around the fact that Clay's been traded or on different teams. He hasn't really won a lot championships recently. There's a lot of pressure on like what his future looks like. His salary has been cut drastically, and he's clinging to Meg for relevance. And that kind of, I guess, played into him treating her or poorly or whatever during the season. And it just made me think about like, what is he doing for his mental health, and how, regardless of how much money you have, like you was stated earlier, if you don't do the work, you're still having these issues. And no matter how much money or fame, notoriety, or whatever, you still have to do the work. And people seem to gloss over that and just think that it fixes everything, and it doesn't. But at the end of the day, there's a lid for every pot, and you just have to remember that. So yeah, I'll pause there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, April. Um, I can't remember who it was, but I watched. This was a mature man. I'm sorry, I should have had all this stuff up, but um, he said the number one reason why, and he says specifically to men because women do cheat. Women cheat. Women cheat. And the thing about women is, thank you so much, Eve. Thank you for being here. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Say see you later too, Yvette, y'all. Um, but women do cheat. And I want to say that when women cheat, it's just a little more calculated and it's a little more strategic and planned out. But this gentleman, specific to men, said the number one reason a man cheats is because, and I think this is research based, their father, they have seen their father cheat. They have seen their father have affairs inside the household. And they somehow carry this um, this characteristic. And you know, I had questions about that, right? Because when they see their father cheat, did they see how the mother stay? Was it right? Like there was more to it for me. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And um yeah, it doesn't give anyone, there's really not an excuse. There's just not an excuse. As a woman who has cheated, as a woman who has been in, you know, not in my marriage, but in previous relationships where I have cheated, which is why that's why I have some details in there. um, Jalen, you wanted to say something? Mike is yours. The floor is yours.
I first of all, I applaud you for that level of accountability and honesty that you just conveyed right there, because um because we do live in this, I mean, that's we do live in a society where it is normalized for men to have extramarital affairs, for men to have infidelity, for men to have options, to exercise their options. We do live in a society, but that's one of the byproducts of the patriarchy, right? Is that, you know, when you live in a male dominated society, you do as I say, not as I do. You know, they put this overinflated expectation of purity and submission, of subservience on women. You should not do any of these things. If a woman does cheat, the penalty goes on the man anyway in that space. Oh, you got cheated on. Well, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. It was his fault. Da, 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 da. And then so that also sort of gives credence for women to justify it when they do it in some aspects. So it just puts like a double whammy on men who are monogamous, and the men who are vulnerable to being cheated on, just by aspects of just them being ignorant. They just don't know what they don't know, right? They don't know how to navigate and be emotionally intelligent with their partner, or to read the signs, the red flags from the beginning, as Victoria said earlier, about like, hey, maybe I'm in an unhealthy position that may compromise me later on, and it may result in my woman, my significant other, my partner cheating on me. You know, like everyone has their responsibilities and accountability in that. I appreciate you for sharing. But as someone who witnessed, oh yes, Sanji, yes, you have a great evening. As a young boy who witnessed my father, you know, cheat, and me being exposed to the other women, you know, as this is Miss So and So, this, that, and the third, and then also being brought back home, you know, to my mother, and then experiencing that backlash and the arguments, the just all of that. That sort of kind of was a scare tactic for me to not engage in that, because as a child, as a firstborn son, you know, my mom raised two boys, so it was like as a firstborn son as well, I witnessed a lot. And I one of the things, you know how it is, as you all are parents, and you, as being someone's child as well. One of the main reasons why we do what our parents tell us to do, because we don't want to hear their mouth. In the beginning, it starts with we just don't want to hear their mouth. And then over time, it becomes respect. I understand. Now that I'm older, I understand why you told me to clean up. You told me to do this, that, and the third. So just me hearing my mom dealing with the results of my father's infidelities, I didn't want to hear that in my own household in the future. I didn't want to experience that kind of guilt, kind of conflict. That was the part that was scary for me. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that. I'd rather just leave, or I'd rather just get out of the relationship altogether, or I'd rather just say, hey, this is something I've shared with a friend as well. When it comes to men, I feel that some men aren't comfortable with disclosing some of their kinks to their women because of their own idealized version of what they think men are or men should do or how men should show up, particularly when it comes to how they want to be touched and how they would like intimacy and affection to be displayed upon them. And men also sometimes struggle with saying, this is also akin to the lack of emotional intelligence and vulnerability of just saying, hey, I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I just want to be held, I just want to be rubbed on, like, we can figure it out, babe, but when you're living in a society such as ours, like this pressure cooker, and especially with us being black, where you got to go out there and get it, you got bills due on the first, nobody ain't got time to hear your mouth, da 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 da. It's hard for men to pick and choose when to share what it is that they need when their inner child is screaming for comfort. Their inner child is screaming to be held and embraced. It is hard for men in this life when you're an adult and you are a father and you are a business owner and you are a husband and you're a protector and you got to look over your shoulder and you got to. At what point is it an opportune time for us to say, hey, I want to just slow this down? I may not be able to go on that vacation yet, babe, but right now, the vacation is me being in your arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, the vacation is, I may need to be gratified right now. How do I say that without feeling like I'm being too much on you? Because you, as the Black woman, you are dealing with this same mess as well, and you have your own capacity, and you have your own worth that you're battling, your own self-respect that you're battling. At what point do we find the time in the midst of all of this that's going on to do that? And so when you have this one little conscience on one shoulder telling you, hey man, you a man, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do none of that, man. Go ahead and take a little sip of something. Go ahead and smoke a little something. Or, you're entitled to options. You work hard. You entitled to these things. That's what men do. Da 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 da. And all that kind of negative, regressive rhetoric. You have that on one shoulder, and then you have the patience, be faithful, be committed, honor this covenant of understanding and God's will on the other shoulder. That's the hard work. That's the inner work. That is the way, okay, how do I navigate and say what it is that I need in this moment? That is much harder to do day after day, season after season. That's ever changing. And depending on your heart posture, depending on your discipline, depending on how you look at yourself in the mirror and how you hold yourself to a certain standard, it's a matter of time how you rise to the occasion or how you succumb to the temptation.
It's a matter of time, depending on your heart posture, is what you just said.
Your heart posture and your discipline and your culture of self, inner work. It's a matter of time before you're able to rise to the occasion,
Right.
or you succumb to the temptation. And it's not just another woman. It's
Right.
substances, it's other vices, gambling, all these other things that people do to blow off steam or to get that kind of quick gratification.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit more satisfying in the moment, but has long-term negative implications.
Yeah. Received. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's big. That's big because as I have a husband, I have a son, and wanting to, I know that there are things that I cannot teach him, right? Or talk to him about. There are things that he comes to me about. He's 19 now, and there's certain things he comes to me about, and I am grateful. I am blessed to be able to say, go talk to your father, right? Like I can give you a little bit of gonna give you a little bit of some stuff, but this deeper conversation, and he knows I'm like, you know, talk to your dad. Um, but what is really important and what I'm hearing too is how much the patriarchy is wrapped up in our relationships, right? Um, Eve, before she left, she put in the chat, you know, how much this has to do with white supremacy, right? Um, and how much truly, like when we talk, we've all kind of thrown in, you know, I don't do celebrity gossip and celebrity news, but it's a distraction. It's another right, so it is another distraction. We can throw this in with the gambling, we could throw this in uh, with cheating, we could throw this in with, you know, ways that we have chosen to relieve our stress in a world right now that feels really chaotic, that feels like it is burning down and paradigms are just shifting and breaking, and there is a lot of fracture that we are holding. So with this, we are at 8:30. I want to give everyone just an opportunity to say a word before we go, but I also want to share that as hypnotherapist, as spiritual coach, interfaith minister that I am, and centering Black women in what I believe, when one Black woman is healed, she heals those around her, she heals the generations in front of her, but she also heals behind her, right? She also heals the past and moving forward in this present time. I have asked my community in the centering work of Black women, what do you want from me? Right? I have all these things that I do. What do y'all want? And what came back was an overwhelm around emotions, an overwhelm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria, Ruth. Thank you for being here. Y'all are busy on Friday nights. On Friday nights, I'm just. Sanji had a meeting.
Thank you. This was
This was
wonderful.
wonderful.
Thank you for contributing.
Of
Of
course.
course,
The only
the
thing
only thing
I
I
think
think
that
Yes.
they,
they,
even when
even
like
when
when
like when
mom got
mom got
treated
treated,
and all those things, not that that's fun, but I think what they're saying is like she's beautiful, she's established. Like I think they're truly coming from a state of like how beautiful and like how centered and ground from the view that we have. I think that's what they're really saying when they say if like this can happen to her, and then because we don't know these people, you know what I mean? Like she could be extremely
extremely
emasculated,
emasculated,
you
you
know?
know?
And it is a visibility thing, but we as women, in very generally, we what we think about relationships, what we think about what we think men want, men do not always say that that's what they want, right? You know, if I talk to my husband about certain things, he has a completely different view. Like we sometimes think that, like, you know, I'm a writer, I'm a this, I have all these degrees, have this success, I have that success. My husband doesn't care. He didn't care about that. He did not care about that. He can't tell you. He can't tell you about the BS or he can't he did not care about that.
I
I
think what
think what,
and I think
and I
it goes
think it goes
to this
to this
point.
point, I
Thank
think,
you, April. Did April leave already? Yes, she did. Thank you for being here.
I
I
think it's
think it's,
so
uh,
men,
men,
it
it
goes
goes
back
back
to the
to the
mom.
mom.
You have
You
to
have to
think,
think,
this is what
this is
I
what I
would do.
want.
You
You
look
look,
for love that you receive from your opposite sex parent. You're looking for that person. You know what I mean? Your son doesn't care about your degrees either. You know what I mean? So like they're looking to be like nurtured in a way, but still feel like a man, you know? Like that's what they're looking for. And we speak completely different languages. Isn't there like a book like Women Are for, like and I think what has happened in society is that we are just taught to like be something for a man. You know what I mean? But we don't even know what they want. And then we're just taking a guess from like one person that's being idolized when everybody is so different. Like you have to sit down and have these conversations, but it truly, truly stems from the inner work being done. Because if you don't know yourself, how are you going to tell somebody else what it is that you need? You know what I mean? Like if you don't have that connecting tissue with yourself, you're just going to keep repeating cycles and being and doing and repeating and washing and rinsing and like it's just going to literally look the same. So I do have to go, but I think this is great and I can't wait for more conversations because I have so much to say like always, and I love you all, and thank you, Nasha, because I just saw your text, and good night.
Good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Oh gosh, hello.
Hi, Nasha. I'm gonna mute because I think my my thing that I have on that I'm not gonna touch because I have to do a sound bath tomorrow, so I'm not gonna touch it. But I think it's messing up when people talk, so I'm gonna mute.
Okay. Okay, I can hear. So
So
I'm still echoing. So really quickly, I just jumped on to say I really do agree with what everyone said. I fit into that category of not following a lot of social media, a lot of news. I didn't know they broke up until it was like in one of my friend group chats. And I was like, oh, okay. Then the meme came up about, the real degrading one about Meg the Stallion. And I was like, okay, but my son's graduating. Did he do his work? I'm so, so I'm so like removed. And then my spidey senses, my conspiracy senses are like, oh, they're gutting the 14th Amendment. Of course they're breaking up right now because everyone's in there. We're not really worried about like, will we be able to vote in the next couple of years? Will we be considered citizens? So my energy is towards the healing. So even in the text, like the friend text, and they were like, oh, well, Clay cheated on X, Y, and Z. He brought it to a mama. His parents knew he was cheating. She cooked, Thanksgiving for him. It was still like, it's more in the healing that she gets what she needs and he gets what he needs because there's dysfunction there. There's dysfunction really with all of us because of, honestly, it's in our DNA. Um, Men weren't allowed to have wives. If you said you had a spouse, then it was strategically separated from you because that was seen as a weakness. So then we were breeded. Then, I don't think we really look at that biological part of it. And then we also have to look at how we're so consumed with trying. I'm not going to say survive because we're surviving now, but the idea of thriving and keeping up with the Jacksons, because we're not really with the Joneses anymore. We're more with the Jacksons. How that has put us in a loop where we're not in the home to take care of the home, but we're too busy trying to provide opportunities that we didn't have, that our parents didn't have, so that our kids could succeed and create their own worlds, but we're losing a lot of the foundational things. And that's all I have. But thank you so much for this today.
Thank
Session
you.
or
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is right, the epigenetics of it all, right? What we carry in our DNA. But that's why our work that we do is a little different. And it's practical spirituality, it's practical work of healing, doing the shadow work and moving from the shadow work into the light and doing that inner child work, to looking at those wounds, right? Um, so our conversation tonight was, and I'm going to say is, but this was an elevated conversation. This was not the conversation in the comments. And we needed to put this into, as the spiritual person that I am, we needed to put this into this field. Right? So when you know, some of us, and maybe some people have left thinking that this was just about Meg the Stallion and Clay Thompson, and it isn't, because we're metaphysicians, right? We are looking at things with a different eye, and we needed to put this into the field. Jalen needed to be. There is no accident that you came in with your king energy and drop gems into this space, because and I asked, I was like, you want to come, you know, you want to come to the circle? And we need these conversations, because we shift the atmosphere with these conversations. This was an elevated conversation. This was not just about, well, he, and you know, and then we were not doing that. And we could have went that way, right? Which is why I wanted to keep reiterating that this is what we are talking about: support. We are talking about how not just how we want to be supported, but how should we be supported, so that we don't fall back into the wounds that we just worked ourselves out of. Like we just did a whole lot of work in the past, you know, we just did a whole lot of work, y'all. I got the papers and the books, and we just did a lot of work to be able to have this conversation on a Friday evening. Because a lot of people are not doing. Some of y'all are having meetings. I see. I'm like, who's having a meeting? I don't, you know, I'm so nosy. I was like, Sanji, where you go? What? Right? But people are. This is my best friend was like, I can't come because, you know, they have to continue doing what happens on Cinco de Mayo on the 15th. So they got a running Friday night situation, right? So, you know, and I'm not judging. What I'm saying is different people are doing different things on this Friday night. And when we just have discussions like this, we shift the field. And we cannot avoid certain conversations just because it's celebrity news or it's celebrity this, and we, you know, we don't deal in that, or we don't do that. No, sometimes because what you have agreed to, you will have come up in your face this whole thing on hip hop, the wives of the hip hop, or Atlanta, or whatever. I know how to mix two things together, but it will come so that you can be the metaphysician that you are, to speak into something and shift the field. So the work, and I'm gonna say, y'all know about the work. I'm gonna speak it. Jalen is here. We are doing this work of being held, so that we can move through the emotions, more of the emotions, and raise our emotional IQ, and we can look around, right? No more red flags after this. No more, you know, seeing the red flag and avoiding. It is, this is the work, and this is how I want to be held. This is how I want to be nurtured. These are my boundaries, and my boundaries are this safe space that I'm creating, so I can do my most magnificent, wonderful, service to the world, to being here. So that is the work of Held. That is the work that we're going to be doing, a 21-day journey of coming in and doing the release work, the reclaiming work, and really the rebirthing and coming back to ourselves. And this is so important. This conversation was so important because it answers the question, like, are we safe? Are Black men safe? Right? Where are the places, spaces, and faces that we are safe? Are we safe? Are we safe? Is a man who cheats, is he needing to see a part of himself that the relationship that he committed to does not allow him to see? Right? He needs that reflected back to himself. That was another elder. I may have sent that to you, Lenita, I'm not sure, but that was another video, right, where the gentleman was saying that that the man who's cheating, he's meeting himself in those relationships. He's meeting a part of himself that he can't meet or even bring into the marriage. So this was amazing. I'm having all kinds of, like, okay, we need to have the men, we need to get the men in here. So maybe that's something we'll do in June. Maybe we'll do maybe it'll be a father's. I don't know if they ain't nobody trying to mess with us for Father's Day, I think.
I
I
think
think
I
I
think
think
June is
June is
kind of
kind of
men's
men's
month,
month,
right?
right?
So we
So we
can,
can,
yeah, I
yeah, I
think it'll
think
be
it'll be
good.
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll put the feelers out. We can put the feelers out and have something, and yeah, I would love that. I would really love that. But I want to thank you so much, Lenita Mitchell-Blackwell. I want to thank you, Nasha. Thank you so much, Jalen, for all that you contribute, and all of us together. What we did as a circle to shift the atmosphere. That is what I truly, truly believe. I am, always transformed after we have the conversation. I'm always amazed, like, I didn't have to break out anything. I didn't have to do anything, that just by talking we shift the atmosphere. So if there's one word or something that you would like to say to just be complete before we close out.
Jill,
Jill,
before we do that, I think it's important that you give your contact information and how people can get involved with the HELD program. And then we'll go to the one word.
Thank you for keeping me on task. So, the best way to get in contact with me or to learn more about me is to go to jillflowers.com. I would love to put my IG up, but I don't always remember it. It's Soul Activist. Is it Jill Flowers? It's like Jill Flowers underscore Soul Activist. I believe that's what it is. And Held is really it is a sacred nervous system reset. It is my sanctuary experience that centers Black and brown women seeking rest, reflection, regulation, restoration. The women who have held so much for so long, for so many, being able to come in and have 3 weeks of being supported and leaving with tools that's my promise, is to leave with tools. Not that you won't ever, you know, be in chaos again, but I want you to have the tools to be able to use. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nasha. What is it? It's Jill underscore Flowers Soul Activist. So that's my IG, and my email, my website is jillflowers.com. And Held is, it's a 21-day journey with 3 lives that are similar to this, but I'm facilitating, and we are doing some work which I call hypnosoul, which is the breath work, the sound and the hypnosis coming together to just help transmute all of the emotional chaos that we carry, so that there's clarity, and in that clarity there's decisiveness, right, where we get to make these decisions that are outside of the wounds that we carry. So with that, we start on Sunday, but we are also going to have another 3 weeks. We'll have a second cohort this summer, and if people want to get on a wait list, you can go to Jill Flowers and subscribe there. And so I want to quickly give my word and have us go around, because my battery is about to go. So let me, Lanita, my word really is clarity. I feel really clear. And I thank you all for that. Lanita.
My word is thankful for having this container to have this conversation, to have as many people on a Friday night come on and stay on, and to be able to broadcast it live so those who were not able to join us will still be able to enjoy it. And to your point about needing this vibration in the atmosphere, that it will continue to resonate. So I'm very thankful.
And Jalen.
Word I have is warmth. Yesterday it was. I mean, the weather's been beautiful here. Yesterday was like occasionally breezy, but I don't know, man. Clear skies, the way the sun was just beaming yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be out here. I'm a bask in this, and then maybe just think about all the opportunities I've taken to receive the warmth, whether it be through affection, through affirmation that I tell myself or from my loved ones, just for being thankful, as Miss Lanita said, and being on this pursuit and being able to continue on this journey of self development and service, that it just gives me a good, reassuring, warm feeling. So, warmth is my word.
Miss Nasha.
Purpose, just with, or intentional, um, is really echoing everything you said, how the conversation can go left, right, and being intentional on how you steer the conversation and direct the vibration to put it in the atmosphere. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Lenita, the mic is yours. I'm going to say my final, just deep, deep gratitude. And you can.
Thank you for joining the Boundaries to Brilliance transformation journey this evening for our special session. the launch of Jill Flowers held. This has been a wonderful night of discovery. I have to share this because Angelica had this epiphany, and I got to share this with y'all. So I got caught up in a client meeting, and I was way, way out today. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Georgia, but I was in a town called Cave Springs, and it is like right before you cross the Georgia-Alabama border. And I thought I was on one side, but I was actually on the other, which was an additional 30 minutes out. And so I actually had to pull over to start the call. And I was in a cemetery because that was the safest place to do this. And so I was telling Angelica about it, and she said, "You just had additional spiritual support." And I was just like, yes. I know, yes,
I love that.
yes. So I know that this was something that needed to happen, and it happened exactly when it was supposed to, and we were all exactly where we were supposed to be to have this conversation. So thank y'all. And I look forward to the next one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Good night.